players will be able to play as ghouls for the first time. Why now?
Why now? So going back to like the community sentiment and feedback, it's some of the broad strokes I've been seeing that I've taken away from that feedback is that players are looking for in-game players. That's like levels 50 plus, fighting the Scorched Beast Queen and other in-game endeavors, are looking for alternate ways to play through that content, perhaps even looking for alternate ways to play through even more challenging content. So doing something as impactful as introducing a ghoul to the game as a playable race needs to be done in a very impactful way, right? It can't just be a look. It needs to come with being able to play differently, very noticeably differently than humans. So respecting that feedback, it felt like the right time to introduce the alternate ways to play through the in-game content. And Player Ghoul was something that we had kind of thought about for a while, and the two just kind of matched up. I'm John Rush, creative director on Fallout 76.
Can you kind of start by giving us like the top line of what we're looking at with Skyline Valley?
Yeah, so Skyline Valley is the first map expansion for Fallout 76. Skyline Valley is a new region that's opened up to the south of the map and delves into the origins of the mysterious, long-closed Vault 60.
It's not the first time that Fallout 76 has had like new maps or like new regions for players to explore, but it is the first time that it has had a region attached to like the general world map where it was like where Pit was like you loaded into that region. Mm-hmm. This is like straight up you can go there from where you are in just like the Fallout 76 map. What made this year the time to like do like a full-on integrated map expansion as opposed to a different region?
So that's something that we had discussed for a little while and have kind of toyed with different ideas. What we had arrived at was wanting to further tell the story of Vault 63, to dive into those mysteries and explain those through the new region. The reason we chose the new region over a new space that you would load into like expeditions are a very pointed venture. You go there to do a thing, to get something, and then you leave. And so players aren't able to build in there and so forth, because that's not what they were built for. But expanding the map with a new region that players can access from most surrounding areas on the map, as you would with a new space, gives them the opportunity to not only learn about our stories, explaining Vault 63, but also tell their own with the camps that they build and the places that they explore.
And we're looking at like an entirely different new class of enemy here too, like the Lost, mm-hmm. which are like shock-powered ghouls. Can you speak a little bit to like what went into the design of this new form of enemy, like how it came together?
So the challenge with making a new region is, like, if you look at the map now, right, it's kind of almost theme parkish in a way, right? There's very distinct regions, Ash Heap, Toxic Valley, Cranberry Bog, with their own looks, their own flora, fauna, weather, and what have you. So making a new region and figuring out what kind of creatures or enemies people are going to run into, there's a lot of synergy there, right? So it started with wanting to explore the Vault 63. So to me, that says kind of dark, mysterious. So, okay, let's have the new region be kind of dark and mysterious. What does that look like? So a lot of brainstorming with concept, with designers, looking through different treatments, and then seeing that storm. It's like, yes, that's what it is. It's the big electric storm. Okay, so that big electric storm, that's the tentpole feature of this new region. What kind of things would live there? Well, things had to live in the vault. What would they? Well, what about if they were ghouls? What would make them different? And so it all kind of just spiraled from the region supporting that story.
And again, it's like not the first time we've had different kind of weather effects, but like it really is so stark when you cross into the Skyline Valley area of the game. Mm-hmm. Like the sky turns red, you have this swirling storm overhead, and like how fun was it to start assembling like that new biome into this world that we've already kind of had?
It was a lot of fun because we'd never done anything like that. A huge cyclone storm in the middle of we've never done anything like that. So we did have some challenges and some lessons learned along the way, but we got it to work. It was really fun to see that go from just a conceptual idea to actually being in the game, and you could look up at it, and it's really neat. Seeing all the lightning coming down, and really cool.
For you personally, as you've been developing this, has there been like a certain build or a certain style that is like evolved to be your favorite as you've been building Skyline Valley?
I've had a build that's been my favorite for quite a while. My main character I run is a bloody build, power armor with a plasma Gatling, ultrasight plasma Gatlings. That's always been my favorite. Although hopping in is like a melee character with a bow, it's kind of fun too. But my main has always been to go back to that bloody.
Is that tough when you have to get close to the ghouls that will like explode into electricity when you attack them?
Perhaps, yeah. Actually, it did pose some challenges, so it has me considering some other play styles.
With the show having come out at this point, the Fallout TV series on Amazon Prime, there's been like a resurgence of love for Fallout just like across the board. And how has that affected the team as they've worked on new content for 76?
Well, the team that's been working on Fallout 76, they've always been very energized and devoted to the project. I think a lot of that energy comes from the fantastic community that we have. I always say Bethesda Game Studios has the best community in gaming, and that's certainly reflected in the work that's come through on Fallout 76. Yeah, seeing the success of the show has been great. I mean, we've been working diligently on this game. Impassioned developers working on this for almost 6 years, making it better and better and better, adding more and more and more content. So the show kind of reflecting so well what Fallout is, striking that balance between that kind of darker tone and that levity. I think viewers really latched onto it, and after experiencing that story, wanted more. So they're going to Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76 to get more of that. So the developers super energized by it. It's been great to see all the new players running around on the map. It's been fun.
And that's an interesting thing worth bringing up, is that Fallout 76 is still like very different from other Fallout experiences, where it's a community sort of thing. You can play by yourself, but like the big part of it is joining up with others. That led to like a rocky start a little bit for a lot of fans, but it seems like over time people have begun to appreciate it more. And from your perspective of it, how does it feel like this many years later, where Fallout 76 has kind of settled into its own among the series?
Sure. Well, I mean, of course, the tentpole feature to make it stand out from the others is that it's multiplayer. When the game first launched, I look at the almost 6 years development of this game as a story evolving over time, right? So the launch it's kind of the first chapter. It's people leaving the vault, seeing what remains of West Virginia, seeing the characters that used to live there, maybe not represented by physical humans, but becoming familiar with these characters through the notes they left, or the holotapes, or the anecdotes from robots, or things left in their house. There were characters there. They were just missing. So as the story progressed and Wastelanders came and more folks moved into the area looking for treasure, Brotherhood of Steel comes in to kind of stake their claim, and it's been the continued evolution of that story, right? Since people leaving the vault all the way up to now, experiencing each chapter of that story all the way up to Skyline Valley, and seeing how excited they are with all the content we've come out. It's been invigorating.
When this project started, my understanding is that you started on it as a art director, and now you're at the creative director role. How has your perspective of the game evolved over time as you've been working on it?
As creative director, you've got a different set of things that you're looking for each day, right? As a creative director, your job is largely to kind of keep the wheels moving, right, from all directions, keep them greased, keep them moving, keep everything moving in the right direction. Going through the ideas, trying to filter out some that maybe don't adhere to the vision of 76 or Fallout, and fleshing out the roadmap for the future are all very unique things to this position that I didn't have so much direct input over as an art director, although I did have input. That's been the main difference. I was actually credited on 76 as a producer. Initially, yeah.
Mutated turkeys.
Yeah.
Let's talk about them. What was it like taking this already mean little bird and just turning it into a horrifying monstrosity?
So first off, they're not that little. Back when I was in college, I used to play golf on this golf course, and there were these wild turkeys that would walk around, and if your ball ended up by one of them, just forget it, because they're all going to attack you. You're right, they're pretty vicious. Yeah, it just seemed like a creature that would be walking around Shenandoah and take a creature, turn it into a velociraptor, and let's see what happens. So it's been fun.
And of course, there's also going to be like new robots, a few new big menacing robotics that we're going to have to come up against. Can you speak a little bit to that on the new expansion?
Yeah, so going back to kind of the specific traits and qualities of the region dictating what the story is, these robots, these storm Goliaths, very much tie into that as they harness the power from that storm to fight players off.
And can you share a little bit, like, are we going to be able to harness a little bit of that storm if we go far enough into Skyline Valley?
Well, you have to play and find out for yourself. I will say this, they may not be harnessing the storm, but watch out for getting struck by lightning. That does happen.
One of the biggest things that we saw here today also is that Skyline Valley is kind of, I would say, almost an opening chapter to a lot of other things that are coming down the line. You guys have a lot of cool things planned. One of which we got to see today was players will be able to play as ghouls for the first time. Why now?
Why now? So going back to like the community sentiment and feedback, it's some of the broad strokes I've been seeing that I've taken away from that feedback is that players are looking for in-game players. That's like levels 50 plus, fighting the Scorched Beast Queen and other in-game endeavors, are looking for alternate ways to play through that content, perhaps even looking for alternate ways to play through even more challenging content. So doing something as impactful as introducing a ghoul to the game as a playable race needs to be done in a very impactful way, right? It can't just be a look. It needs to come with being able to play differently, very noticeably differently than humans. So respecting that feedback, it felt like the right time to introduce the alternate ways to play through the in-game content. And Player Ghoul was something that we had kind of thought about for a while, and the two just kind of matched up.
And from what I understand, it's not something that you can just do from the get-go. You have to get to a certain level. You have to go through certain quests. How difficult has it been to build that process of players being able to sort of ghoulify themselves in Fallout 76?
A large part of it is a big systemic endeavor, right? Because you get those new perks that stack on top of the existing, and it's tailoring those new perks to be more in-game specific, making sure that they gel well with the existing perks has probably been the biggest challenge.
And we will learn more about that process and those quests and being able to become a ghoul in early 2025?
Very soon.
Very soon. When is Skyline Valley expected?
Skyline Valley is coming out June 12th.